Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what? I hope this isn't about your podcast again. Why, did you finally listen to it?
You're listening to BYOTP Radio. Coming up next, the Groomer Next Door. The Groomer Next Door podcast.
Dun, 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 dun.
Heidi-ho, Pups and Kittens, and welcome to episode 161 of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
And running our mixing board, doing all production for the podcast, is Claire.
Hello.
Well, this week, we are going to be joined by BRETT PODOLSKY. He actually is the co-founder of The Farmer's Dog, and he'll be joining us in a little bit and telling us all about his really cool pet product. It's delivery service of really high quality pet food that really honestly, with everything going on with pet food companies and the misrepresentation that they've been giving over the past how long, gives you kind of that moment where you're thinking to yourself, maybe I actually want to think about something else except for this. So
it does question everything you know about dog food as is.
Yes, it does. Alright, well, our fact of the week. Now, Sarah hasn't heard this one,
No,
so
I haven't, not yet.
So I'm actually looking forward to her reaction. It'll be live. Different smells in the dog's urine can tell other dogs whether the dog leaving the message is a female or a male, old or young, sick or healthy, happy or angry.
Happy or angry, huh?
Happy or angry,
I
right?
know all the others, just I didn't know about the happy or angry.
Happy or angry. I was like, you know what? I've walked into a lot of men's bathrooms, and it's a real strong smell. So I'm wondering, was that happy or was that angry?
That's awful.
All right, well,
Gross.
and it is gross. And with that said, let's move into our weekly roundup.
The weekly roundup. Yeehaw.
All right, this week we actually have to cover quite a lot of ground this week. We had a transport. It was I still call it rescue / transport. You actually might have a different approach.
I just call it transport.
She calls it transport. I call it rescue transport because we did pick up the dog. We picked up the dog. They surrendered it. So
The dog was brought to us, though.
Oh, that's right. This was a different version. Okay, you're right. Well, do you want to actually tell the story then?
Yeah. Well, there is a situation that has happened that an old dog and a young dog got into a fight. And what happened was that the young dog fell asleep. It was just a puppy. Fell asleep. Rolled off the couch. Is this the
Yeah,
right
you're
one?
good. You're good.
Because we did so many so close.
I know. Yeah, he rolled over, fell on the older dog, and they got into a fight.
Yeah,
And then the dog actually bite Lucky's ear.
That is true. Yes.
bit his ear.
He did bite. Yeah.
And then bit the older dog bit the owner.
Right.
Well, the dog fell off the couch. It startled the older dog.
Right. But the action was not what I expected.
Yes, I expected them to rehome the older dog, but no, they wanted to keep the older dog. Okay. Well, they tried to find him a home and couldn't find him one, so they went to the vet, paid the vet some money to euthanize the dog.
And to me,
And I'm talking about puppy.
Yeah.
He's not even a year old puppy.
8 months.
About maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little less.
That's what I remembered. It was right in that proximity.
Yeah.
Sweetheart
And
of the dog.
the vet did not see the point on putting down such a young dog. So they worked something out where the veterinarian will hold on to the dog while everybody pitches in to find out where this dog can go for a rescue. So it made it, it was aware, Picol was made aware of the situation. And we all agreed we wanted to help out the veterinarian's office, not only for just the dog too, but for the fact that they have been so good to us, the rescue group. And
yeah, it was a message board in a sense that kind of all of a sudden just bling, 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 bling.
Yeah, I shared it on my Facebook page, which has several different rescues and people who coordinate with rescues. They're like, okay, give me just a minute, because we just did a transport for them.
The week prior.
Yeah, without knowing who they are, and we dropped everything to go do this. So they dropped everything to help us, which was great. This is how it works. You help me, I help you, and it takes all of us to save all these lives.
Right.
And if any lives deserve to be saved, it's these dogs and cats and whatever animals that need to be transported.
It was weird.
Sure enough,
it was weird though.
It was so quick. It was like boom. Within hours, we found a rescue for this dog.
Oh yeah, it was right away. And the hard part was we had to leave on a Tuesday night, so Sarah would have to, get done with the last of the dogs, get back home, and I had you actually the dog was dropped off at work.
Yeah.
And we were on our way.
Yep.
It was like 5:30. We left and drive out, and it was
a Pacific, and what it is, it's real close to the Purina Farms.
Yes, same exit as Purina Farms.
Exactly, Gray Summit. Anywho, there's this amazing boarding facility out there.
Oh my gosh.
That is boarding, grooming, and a rescue. The rescue itself is called Home to Home, and they had room for the little dude. Was able to take care of him and going to fully vet him, send him on his way.
I walked in there and I was just like, this place is gorgeous.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just stunning.
I've seen the place when we're driving out to St. Louis, and I thought it was like a cafe or something.
Well, I thought it was like a training facility. But what was nice, too, is that the original owners were so happy to see this pup go to a rescue that they went and made a large donation to Pikal and made a large donation to the rescue that is taking care of him and finding that pup a home.
What's the hardest part I think I can look down at this week that just passed is that we didn't have a transport or rescue. And that was the first one of 2017 we were not doing something. That was a little odd, even though I was exhausted this week.
Well, pretty much this week was the Pikal meeting.
Oh, that's right.
And going over our next fundraiser, which is the Spay-Getty dinner. Our spay and neuter fund is running quite low, and we need to
replenish it.
Yeah, replenish it. And the Spay-Getty dinner typically, it actually does really good about replenishing our spay and neuter fund.
Well, it's so inexpensive to have a home-cooked meal. You get to go out and you're eating, home-cooked meal in a nice environment. We
have regular pasta, we have gluten-free pasta, our sauce is vegetarian, and if you wanted to add the meatballs, you can add the meatballs. Garlic bread, salad, desserts. Yeah. You can get soda and
iced tea, lemonade, Gator. There was a Kool-Aid I thought as well, which was kind of funny. I was like, okay.
Well, for the kids that come in.
Oh, okay. Are you calling me a kid? I like Kool-Aid.
It's for people to come on in, have some dinner, donate what you feel like you want to donate,
and not have to cook.
Not have to cook, not have to clean up.
It's like going out to eat, but you know that the money is going to actual helping. So, we'll post it on our Facebook page, and I'm really hoping that a lot of locals that we know come in. And
I hope so too. And so far, we have gotten I want to say we've gotten 8 pounds of pasta.
Oh gosh.
We have 2 things of 136 plates each, and then we have 3 big, huge things of paper towels. So what's great is that the other fundraiser Tara did at her work has given us enough supply to where we can take care of the spaghetti dinner and donate to the non-kill shelter in St. James. So we have a bunch of towels, a bunch of blankets, and paper towels and stuff to take over to them.
Which is awesome.
Which is nice.
Now, Bagheera, our foster kitten, we have an update on. I can't really call him a kitten.
He's not a kitten.
Yeah, he's not a kitten. He's a cat. Update on him.
He has started showing signs where he wants to be loved.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
hanging out with you.
Yes.
He's hanging out next to me. He is learning not to use his claws when he wants something. His one claw.
One
He can't
paw.
use the other paw.
Yeah.
And his personality started to come out. It's really cute. And unfortunately, his paw is just not getting better. There is nothing about it that's getting better.
No.
So Picole got together and made a group decision that it's time to schedule surgery for amputation.
Which, is going to be better in his interest. For one, he'll learn now to not have that almost handicap for him, because it really is getting in the way.
See, and
the pain that he'll go through, you might as well go through it now.
Get it done now and go from there. But I feel bad for him because he's a big cat.
Yes.
He is solid and he's big. You look at Double and Toil.
Yeah,
they're
nothing.
petite. They're very petite cats. And if they were to lose a leg, they're so small they can move around a little easier. But Garrett is big and he's long. So he can jump from the ground to the couch, from the couch to the table. And he tries to get on our counter.
It is funny though, every morning I go in the morning and making breakfast and, making Claire's breakfast, and as I'm making her breakfast, I have to give him his breakfast as well. And he's wrapped around my leg. He's an adorable cat, and I really do believe that he's going to have no problem finding a home. I think that we will be able to find a very suitable home for him, but a suitable home with an actual adopted parent that has the resources that will actually be looking for a cat like this. In our experience, we've noticed that more of your higher income adopters, they want the actual cat that has been through something, whether it's lost limb or look at how Lucky was. He was near death.
Yeah, the more tragic the story, the more heartstrings are pulled, and the more they want to go, oh my gosh, I want to give this guy a cush life from now on. So, but Garrett's healthy. He is very strong. So I'm pretty sure that he'll come through the surgery okay. We'll talk about it Monday and see if Dr. Yonke feels like he's cleared for it, or if we need to give him the shots and everything first, and then clear him in a week or two.
Right. We'll have more
luckily,
updates.
nothing on the leg is going dead, so there's no disconnect or loss of circulation.
And the other thing that we've noticed is we've made sure he has no rubbing of that area, so there's no chance of bacteria and infections.
But the problem is it's starting to. You can see a wear.
You can.
Yeah, where the paw flips completely up.
Right.
And he uses it to kind of balance like a tripod.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, it's time.
It is definitely. All right. Well, and that will conclude our weekly roundup. And now we move on to a pet food recall. This pet food recall was initiated on the 17th of January by the Blue Ridge Beef of Eatonton, Georgia. They announced that they are doing a voluntary recall of one lot of its turkey with bone raw frozen product due to potential contamination, which seems to be the general problem. I've always wondered about it, and I've talked to different people about this contamination thing. It's hard to really pinpoint it. So, the affected product is sold in 2-pound chubs and can be identified with the following manufacturing code, which is 854-298-001887. It's the Blue Ridge Beef Turkey with Bone, size 2-pound chubs, UPC Code 854-298-001887, lot number 103. All these details and more will be on the show page for you to actually look at. So hopefully you did not buy the product, but if you did, as recommended, take it back to the store immediately, and I'm pretty sure that they will give a full refund. And that concludes this week's edition of Pet Food Recall.
Oh, hello. Hold on a sec. Dad, we have a guest on the podcast.
This week we are joined by the co-founder of the Farmer's Dog, BRETT Podolsky. Thank you for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, like I told you before we started, you're following a great episode, and which is awesome. I didn't know that you actually had met the director of Pet Food. So, like I said, I read your pretty much your bio off of Forbes, you and your co-founder, and I thought that was a really cool story. And again, you're making really good product, all natural, and I thought, you know what, this is the perfect interview to have to follow up another episode that really should coincide. So let's start with the beginning. How did the Farmer's Dog idea begin?
It was really kind of found out of necessity. My dog, Jada, she was constantly sick. I tried every brand you could name, all the premium brands. Eventually, a veterinarian had recommended that I try home cooking for her to get her back on track. And within a few days, all of her symptoms simply disappeared. Mm-hmm. And that was when I really first saw the power that food has on our health. After doing a bit of research, I found that there was already this huge amount of people making the switch from commercial pet food to real home-cooked style food. We refer to it as the real food movement. The problem is that cooking at home is not only difficult and time-consuming, above all, it's risky because you're not going to give them the right vitamins and minerals and balance their diet, which could lead to future problems like the vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So around this time is when me and Jonathan decided that we wanted to create a service that would make eating home-cooked food safe and convenient.
Which is brilliant, because we do know that there are a lot of home delivery services, not using names, but a lot of them out there for humans. I mean, it made all the sense in the world to me. Well, if I'm going to get my food delivered, you can make it all at one thing, and it's not like you're actually reheating kibble. You're actually making really, really beautiful food. I mean, if you look at your packaging, I mean, it is really nice. I mean, I would eat it, and that's one of those things. I mean, obviously, and we're going to get to that, but I mean, humans can eat it, which is kind of funny. Actually, I'll even segue to that. You tested it on actual people, and your product meets the USDA standards. So what's involved in that process?
So for us, our criteria is making sure the food is human grade. We felt as though, our number one goal is to make sure that pet parents have the peace of mind that they deserve when they're feeding their pets. And the only way that they're going to have that peace of mind is when they are absolutely confident, without any doubt, that they're giving their pet the best diet that they possibly can and the best life that they possibly can. So our criteria is human grade for that reason. And so what we do is we make sure we're getting all human grade ingredients that we actually source from the same places that deliver to the restaurants in Manhattan. We actually are based in Brooklyn. And all of our kitchen itself is actually a human grade certified kitchen, and all of the processes that we use are also that of human grade.
That is amazing. I mean, now that would almost be kind of challenging in a sense, because I would think that almost in a sense everybody would just be eating the food. I mean, for me, I'd be cooking something like, well, you know what, just kind of like if I'm watching Hell's Kitchen, you got to taste it to make it. So be one of those kind of things. Well, so go ahead.
I can't tell you how many times when we would do like a small test batch when we were first starting a few years ago, and I had some food on my hands and I would just lick it off. Yeah. To me, I wasn't thinking this is pet food. This is real food that is nutritionally formulated for pets.
Which is it's understandable. Now, so being out in Brooklyn, I mean, now this is kind of one of those interesting things, because I'm thinking, okay, well, if you're shipping all over now I'm guessing it's all over the country is where your clients are. So you're based out in Brooklyn. I'm sure you have clients in California or Seattle, or so when you're actually sourcing your actual ingredients, from vendors or farmers. Do you have farmers or vendors that are in other parts of states, or are they right there local for you, and then you just ship from actual New York?
Yeah, that's correct. So what we do is our kitchen is in Westchester, just a couple miles out of the city, and our criteria is to get everything within 200 miles of our kitchen so that we could still, so it's still considered local.
Okay.
Eventually we will open up kitchens in other parts of the country to service those regions.
That makes sense. I mean, I would think that would, because your concern is obviously fresh. So I can definitely see it where you're going to have, a Midwest, you're going to have a West Coast, just to actually keep it at that level. So what were the biggest challenges that you faced when you launched?
That's a good question. When we were in a small private beta, we found that our customers absolutely loved the service that we provided, where it was completely customized and all of the food was pre-portioned. And when we realized that we needed to scale, when we realized that we wanted to give this, we wanted to give this food and this service to everybody in the country, or better yet, the world, we knew that we needed to keep the service exactly how it was, as opposed to, I think in most cases you make changes to make it scalable, where instead we went back to the drawing board and we said, how can we make this exact service that our customers love so much, and give it the ability to scale? So that was tough at first, but we did crack the code on it, and now we are 100% able to fulfill as many orders as possible and able to customize and pre-portion for any dog, no matter how much, no matter how many of them we're serving.
That would be that to me, I'm just thinking mathematically, that would be a challenge. That would have to be. Now, are there different plans or recommendations for, say, a pet parent who has a Chihuahua, or that maybe the other pet parent has a Great Dane? So is there different plans for different breeds?
Yeah, so I guess the biggest differentiator between those breeds is really, the size and therefore how much food that they need. We found that, to further help this peace of mind that we're looking to give, when you go into a pet food store, you see, 50 different brands and 100 options per brand, and the pet parents in the store now even more confused than before they got there, having no idea what to feed their dog and how much their dog needs. So instead, we provide kind of the opposite experience, where you come onto our website and we ask you the questions that we need, and then from there we give you a recommended feeding program, and then based off of the answers that you've given us, whether it be sensitivities, allergies, and so on, then we will give you options for certain recipes that fit into that category.
And that works. Now, do you actually have how many, per servings? I don't know if it would be cups or how you would do it, but do you actually have kind of a meal plan of this is how much you want to actually divvy out per meal?
Yes, so the beauty is with what we're doing, since we're pre-portioning it, it really takes away all of the thinking and all of the work for our customers. So for instance, when my food shows up at my house, it says, for instance, Jada's turkey recipe, feed 1 pack per day. So in the morning, I open up a pack, I give her half the pack in the morning, and at nighttime, as long as we see that the bag is empty, I know I've given her exactly how many calories, vitamins, and minerals that she needs for the day.
Wow, that helps. Now, one thing I didn't notice is, do you actually do treats yet? Do you have like a separate dog treat line, or is that something that you might be doing in the future, or even considering?
Yes, we have some fun stuff in the works, some treats, and a couple of additions to the box that are going to be really fun, and you'll be the first to know once we release it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was, it was just something that was off the top of my head as you were mentioning, prepackaged meal. I'm thinking, well, we definitely, homemade treats have become almost that go-to. That way you know what's in it, you don't have to worry about it, and let's be realistic, we really don't always know what's in our pets' treats or even food if we're not diligent. So that's one thing I was like, you know what, that'd be kind of cool. So
Totally agree.
I can only imagine what the test kitchen was before you even started. Now, one thing I've heard from different companies that are coming up is that, well, we outgrew our original spot. Now we have to move into something bigger. Have you found that that's become something that you're looking into, or are you still lucky enough to still be in your original location?
No, so we did make that move a little bit less than a year ago. We had outgrown our second, maybe it was at our third kitchen actually at that point, and then we moved into a much bigger facility, and we actually took our entire team with us. They all moved to that facility with us, and now they're all working there.
Very good. I mean, it's funny because you hear it all. I mean, I do. I hear it all the time. You know, we didn't expect to actually grow this quick. And once we did, we realized we need to move, and we need to move today. And that could be a challenge. And being in New York, unfortunately, I've never been, and I want to go. But I hear all the time, it's really hard to actually find a place to move. Was that difficult?
We actually got really lucky. Right around the time that we were about to outgrow the kitchen, I developed a relationship with somebody who owned their own, almost like a big catering facility. So same kitchen, same sort of kitchen appliances, just a commercial and a much bigger space for us.
Very easy. That was a lucky transition. That was very lucky. I mean, like I've heard it from different people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we struggled." We looked at place after place. One thing I have heard from different people that actually, in manufacturing is that they'll be making a certain product, and there's a certain product that, oh my God, it just makes the entire area smell great. And then there's another one that you just kind of go, oh gosh, we're making that one. Do you actually have a product that actually everybody just stops? Like, I'll use an example. We had Apollo Pet Wine in Apollo Pet Peak. And they said, man, when we had, I think it was the peppermint, it was great. And then there was another one, and they just were like, oh gosh, every time we know it's being made, it just was kind of a hardship. Do you ever go through any of that, or is it all just delicious and you're just like, oh, I don't care which one's being made, I'm in heaven?
No, we haven't had any of those bad ingredients in the house. I was actually pleasantly surprised by parsnips, because they don't really have much of a smell when they're raw, but then when they're cooked, they actually become quite sweet. So you'd find me sneaking little bites after we cook and make a little bit extra.
Well, that's always good. I mean, there's always that one ingredient, though, that you just always wonder, is that one just going to just smell up the room? So that was always one of my things. It's like, oh boy, I wonder if that ever happened. So one of the main things is, how are your meals prepared? Now, I know you have this major kitchen, but how are they made?
So, for instance, we actually order our ingredients. Everything's always ordered fresh. We order it just a few days before we intend on cooking it. So we actually don't hold any of the ingredients in our kitchen at all, maybe just for a day or two. Everything is either baked or steamed or boiled, depending on the ingredient requirements. Right after the food is cooked, we then take it and we blast chill it. We do that because in order to maintain the human grade status, it can't be in the temperature danger zone, which is basically between 40 and 140 degrees. It can't be in that zone for an extended period of time. So after it's cooked, we bring it directly into a glass chiller, which reduces it below 40 degrees to ensure that there is no bacteria growth at all.
Very good. Yeah, that's definitely, I imagine that would be a major concern. What ingredients do you use?
So each of our recipes is quite different. We did that intentionally. We didn't want to have too many ingredients, or really any ingredients that are in more than one recipe. For instance, if a dog is allergic to something, we didn't want to exclude them from all of our recipes. So, for instance, carrots you won't find carrots in our pork recipe, let's say. We've also, we're very careful about all of our meat. So, for instance, with our beef recipe, we use beef liver. For our pork recipe, we use only pork liver because we don't want to cross-contaminate and therefore exclude certain dogs who may or may not have an allergy to a certain ingredient. But some of the ingredients that we use is sweet potato, green beans, cauliflower, blueberries. We use fish oil, kale and carrots, chickpeas, broccoli, spinach, parsnips, and then we use beef, of course.
Wow. That's just, what? Table for one. Like I said, it must...
You could eat it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, boy, it almost sounds better. Sadly enough, it sounds better than going to a fast food restaurant and getting food for yourself. I mean, it sounds better. That sounds better than most places. Wow. Like I said, table for one. Now, I mean, I've asked this question of a lot of people, so it's one of those generic questions that anybody who is involved in pet food or has a love for it, I always have to ask this question because I go through it anytime I go to a big box store or a market. And it drives me nuts when you're walking down an aisle and you're close to the pet food aisle. You see somebody with name brand soda and their basket's filled with, really good stuff, but they don't have a quality dog food. Does it drive you insane? Do you just kind of want to stand up and go, let me explain to you what this is. Let me talk to you. Let me give you, a little bit of information.
It's a funny question because I believe that every pet parent, I believe that they feel as though they are giving their pet the best. So I never look at it like why are you spending so much on yourself and not on your dog? Because I do believe that every pet parent is doing their best. I would love to be able to educate them that there are better options out there. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as they're doing what they think is best, I think they're passing the test in my book. Now it's just up to us to show them that there's a better option out there.
Much better than me. Much better. I mean, my answer is always, I just kind of want to have one of those old-timey top hats, cane, kind of, those the 1800s, little vendors with a little wagon going, here, come, step right up. Let me tell you about the miracles. I don't know why. It's part of my nature. I that's just me. But I liked your answer. I do like your answer completely. I don't know why it drives me nuts. I did not notice this, so this is why I was like, okay, well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe I didn't see it. Do you actually have a cat food?
No, not yet. We are working on some cat food right now. Luckily for us, with all of the other operational, the operational side that we've mastered, cat food is going to be a very easy addition for us, and we're in the works with it right now. We have a ton of demand. We actually have amazing relationships with a ton of veterinary officers all over the country, and they love us. A lot of them are referring their dogs to us, but every single time that we speak to them, every single time their question is, "Well, when is cat food coming?" We finally found that cats are extremely, extremely picky, and they really need a food like ours.
I never, what's funny? Our cats, whether we rescue them or, our own personal cats, either we feed them really good food, so they've never shied away from anything we've made them, or we just don't have picky cats. I don't know. I think so. Apparently so. I mean, I still have this running joke with my wife that animals that are in bad situations, they'll see us coming and they will find a way to get our attention, just because it's almost like this urban myth. Oh, that's those people that I've heard about. Let's try to get to their place. I believe this story, as crazy as it may sound. Now, in this day and age, we have technology, crazy amounts of technology, and it was one of those interesting concepts in my mind is, are you going to develop an app for your actual product, are you thinking about doing any kind of apps or anything to that, high-tech iOS type world, or is it just, web-based, stick in that area?
Yeah, we've had some talks about it. It's not something that we're going to be doing in the short term now.
To the point. Yeah, I'm very to the point. I got to give you credit. You are right there to the point. I mean, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm expecting this longer answer of, well, there was this concept, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna hear something really. I kind of have to say, it is kind of funny. Now, one thing that's always got to be a challenge for you is the fact that packaging has to be the biggest problem, I guess, with every business. If it doesn't look desirable, if there's not something that's eye-catching, you could fail. So when you actually were developing packaging, was that a real problem? Did you go through a lot of issues? Did you go through a lot of concepts? What was that like?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the things that we like, that we always talk about here in the office is we don't like to market to the pet parents. We feel as though that is something that is very widely done, but it's almost unnecessary. The packaging is, when we were deciding on our packaging, it really came down to what is going to provide the best experience, what is going to make the serving the easiest, what is going to take up the least amount of space in the freezer, and what is going to, what packaging can we pick that is eco-friendly as well? And those are the main criteria for us with regards to packaging. I'm sure you've noticed when you saw our packaging, it's transparent. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we did that is because we've seen so many pet food bags that show pictures of ingredients, that fresh ingredients on the bag, and then you look inside the bag and you can't find anything that looks like that. So we decided to take the opposite approach and make it a clear bag so that there's nothing to hide. What you see is what you get. You can see that there's carrots and there's kale and there's actual meat. So yeah, we have real food in the bag, not on the bag.
And trust me, if for anybody who just go to their website, I mean, literally, it's right there. It's right as you scroll down, halfway, if not even less, you just see this clear bag. I mean, I almost kind of was a little jealous. I was like, that's better than what my lunch would have looked like. So I was like, wow, that is quite nice. So I'm actually, sadly enough, I'm out of questions for it. But how are, besides the going to thefarmersdog.com, to choose a plan, tell everybody what they need to, kind of consider when they're actually going to their website to do their, ordering. Let everybody know how it is, what's the process, what you need to know, and kind of instruct everybody on this.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If I didn't explain it already, I mean, we are a pet health service. We're here to provide an experience for the customer and for the dog. Our number one intention is to make our dogs healthier, to make the process easier for their parents. And by doing, what we do is we serve freshly cooked, human-grade food that is personalized for each dog. It's pre-portioned and it's delivered to you by subscription. So all you need to do is go to the website, thefarmersdog.com. Once you click sign up, you fill out a short questionnaire that gives us all of the information that we need to know to give you a feeding program. And from there, all you do is basically click confirm that you want the food, and we take care of the rest for you. You pick your delivery frequency, and so you pick 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, a box of food that is meant for your dog and pre-portioned for your dog shows up, and we track how much food you have left. And every 3 weeks, a new box will show up. And like I said before, you could choose the frequency. Some people do 2 weeks. Some people have a big freezer and they want 2 months.
That, you know what, that I was, as you were telling me, I was thinking, I had a couple more questions. I was like, oh wait, that's a good thing. And you had mentioned, there's actual plans to actually, go further. That is actually kind of cool. I'm not going to say that wasn't a smart move. That was probably the big move right there. Another thing that I didn't even write down in my notes was, how did you come up with the name of the farmer's dog?
When me and Jonathan we were sitting there trying to, we were thinking about how could we embody what we're doing with a name. How could we come up with a name that when you think of it, you think that's the healthiest dog, and what can be, or better yet, who could be healthier than a farmer's dog? They're eating fresh ingredients right from the source.
That makes all the sense. You see, I originally was like, New York, is there actually farms anywhere in New York? I was kind of, I don't know. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. It's funny because whenever I talk to companies like yours, I always think of one thing, and I always think of Shark Tank, and I always think, have you ever considered it? Because here you need multiple kitchens that are going to actually, spawn up just so that you can actually, meet your demands across America. Has that ever been something you've thought about?
Yeah, we do have a lot of like friends and people that we work with that are always pushing Shark Tank on us. We haven't done it. Yeah, I don't know if it's something that we'll end up doing, but yeah, we've definitely thought about it.
I would imagine. I'm not thinking I'm saying anything that has not crossed your mind or been suggested, but I was just like, as somebody who watches it and enjoys it, I'm thinking, I've seen products on there almost on a episode basis. I'm like, that's garbage. Why would anybody want it? But here you have something that honestly everybody should want and have. So I was like, that makes all the sense in the world to me. So yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time. I've enjoyed hearing all about your product, and it's been an actual pleasure being able to talk to you, and I love your product, and I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Oh, hey, no problem. Well, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
Thank you again, Brett, for actually stopping in and telling us all about the farmer's dog. Now, you heard the actual interview, Sarah. I'll let you have first dibs on actually, giving your assessment and talking about it.
My professional opinion. I was taken back by all the things that goes through the whole manufacturing portion of the dog food and making it edible for humans too.
That was my takeaway. I was crazy about that. Like, oh my gosh, that's pretty cool.
Because a nurse one time told me that she doesn't give any medicine to her family unless she tastes it first, so she knows what it's like and can anticipate the reaction of the the animal, the child. And so I did too with Claire and her medicines.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is very tart. I should probably mix it with something sweeter so it's easier for her to handle.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to feed my dog something that I know that I could eat if I wanted to as well is comforting. I open up the bag of dog food that we get our dogs, which is, grain-free salmon stuff, and I smell it and it stinks. It stinks so bad. And it is not anywhere near something we would ever even think about or eat ourselves.
Right.
But then you see their food in their clear packaging. Like, there's nothing to hide.
Nope.
This is just food. And then you don't have to worry about it being clean food. Because obviously it's just food. It's good food. Nothing to hide. Here you go.
And he talked about the process and how they actually do it. And everything's transparent. That's one thing that makes me feel very good about the product. And I had told him before we actually started recording, I had said, you're the follow-up episode of a very, very powerful previous episode with Pet Fool. And my whole goal was to have a very strong, reputable product that was going to come in and follow it.
Yeah, you wanted to follow up this magnificent episode, this powerful, moving episode, and we couldn't get anything for the next week, so you said, we'll just do the video of Augie.
Right, the progressions of a Great Dane,
and
which
then,
has been very well received.
Exactly, and then we'll wait until we can get somebody on our podcast that will be able to follow up such a powerful story, and you did that.
And the other part is that Brett wasn't available the following week, so releasing the actual progressions of a Great Dane was perfect, because I wanted to talk to Brett. I liked the farmer's dog, and I was willing to wait to talk to him. I was not gonna. I had my convictions. It was like, this is how it's gonna be. We're not gonna be off the mic. We're still gonna release something, but instead of releasing just anything, I wanted it to be exactly where we are, and that's where Brett came in, and the farmer's dog came in.
And it's really nifty how you can go to their website and you can put in your dog's needs, and you put in their size and what suggesting feeding rate and such is. A lot of people don't know that they're overfeeding their dogs.
Yes.
And their dogs are getting more plump. And they say, well, I'm not giving them treats, I'm not giving them table scraps, but they're still getting plump.
Right.
Well, it's because you're not feeding them the
proper
amount.
Right. Well, some people think that, they're only going to have a meal once a day. And then you got other people who are like, well, I'm going to give them their morning, 3 cups. And then at night, I just ate dinner. I was hungry, and I've already had lunch. I'm going to have to give them 3 cups again.
Yeah, their stomach does not digest the same as ours.
Nope. I mean, look at what he said. He makes it in the morning for his dog, and that's what his dog eats. So he's not overfeeding, and that's the big takeaway here.
And I like the message too of being more, start making your dog's food at home. It's not all that complicated as long as you go and do the research. But here you have the farmer's dog who's already done that.
Right.
Who's already taken away all that hard work that you're going to have to do. And here you can set it up, and you set it up on a rotation or on a monthly basis, or every so often. Hey, ship me out another bag. I don't have to worry about it's going to be here, and you don't have to worry. There's no worries. It shows up. You make sure you have enough room in your freezer or your fridge to take care of it, and a few seconds later, your dog's got a great meal. A great meal.
And you know what? Really, one thing that set me up for starters, I read the actual article that him and his business partner did with Forbes magazine. That's how it all started for me. How I did my research with him, and I liked everything that I read. And it was a year ago that article came out. So that was my jumping off point. So if you actually get a chance and you're more interested to find out more, I definitely suggest reading that article, because it really does go into depth of where they were there and where they are now. But the other takeaway I have is that people have a box service meal being shipped to their house. Why is it you're not doing the same for your pet? You hear about artisanal ranchers and farmers which have high standards, and you're eating that kind of food. So why aren't you doing the same for your pet? And it's like, it's all right there. You get all of your meals. And look, we know people are busy. So being able to actually have their food delivered like this, they know it's quality, they know that it's fresh ingredients, proportion ingredients, so you're not overspending at the market. I mean, how many times do we overbuy, and it's like, oh, we already had this, or I don't need that much, whatever, thyme or oregano or whatever, parsley, if you use parsley. This one has everything in the packaging, and it makes sense to me. And then your dog actually eats well, and then ultimately, you look at it, they're going to live longer, they're going to have less health issues.
And then also too, a lot of people don't understand either, is that their teeth problems will minimize too, because as they're eating this, the milk bones and all the other chews and all this stuff that's garbage, it ruins their teeth. And by feeding them more of a cooked meal that is fresh and not compacted into kibble bites and colors that are just awful colors. The freshness is just unbelievable.
Oh, it
and
is.
Like he said, within a week you can see the difference.
Oh, yeah.
You will see the difference.
And you know what? A lot of these, whenever I have these guests come in, I always forget sometimes what was on air and off air. We did, you know, I know it sounds terrible, because I really get in, I sink myself into these interviews, and I really enjoy having these conversations. We talked about having dog treats. We did have that conversation, right? You think so? Well, I mean, I had mentioned
dog treat.
I had mentioned. Are you actually planning on doing a dog treat line?
No, you asked him if you're planning on doing a cat line.
No, I said dog
Cat
treat.
food. You said cat food.
Well, I did say cat food, but I asked dog treats.
Oh.
I thought I did. Well, I mean,
I was interested in finding out how long it's going to take him to get a cat line.
Well, I mean, one thing that's cool is that they are, you know, in the process of trying to come up with it, and I think that a one-stop shop, excuse me, to actually get all of your dog's nutrition and rewards, all of that is just it works. I'm really looking forward. I have a feeling that within the next, I'd say probably the next year or so, I would see them opening up multiple different kitchens throughout the U.S. to meet standards and, you know, their customers' needs. Whether, you know, because look, they're on the East Coast, so to meet those standards and be able to get everything to the west and the central parts of the country, I definitely see them opening up more. And look at,
and eventually it can expand, like I said, to the world.
Right. And see, that's what matters. I mean, we're making such leaps and bounds when it comes to dog food and dog treats and care for our dogs. To me, it's kind of cool to see him actually put this product out there. I think there's a market for it. I think that you know.
Well, obviously there's a market for it.
But I think there's a bigger market for it than what is really thought of. I mean, look at Blue Apron. Who would have ever thought that people would want delivered food to their house?
Yeah.
And look at how big it became. I honestly can say this is probably right at the same level, if not even better. Because there's not that many places that actually sell all these ingredients that are fresh. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, we live in central part of the country, and you would think that we would have farms and ranches and everything out here where we'd have fresh everything. Not so much the case. You have it more in a concrete metropolis than you actually do in the country, which is weird. Trust me, I know. But I really appreciate him coming on, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do. I did have one part that I found kind of comical because of Apollo Peak was when they said that they had to move out of their actual facility because they became too big. And so it was like, did you have to? And look at, they've had to do it multiple times. It's kind of funny.
It's good.
It's great. It's great.
It helps stimulate the American economy because you're adding more jobs. You're getting a bigger facility. That is just amazing as it is, and hopefully they can continue getting bigger. That's when you know you really struck it.
Right.
And you did good. You
put the hard work in. You got it.
You're bringing something in. We've seen other stuff, freeze dried stuff, and you just add some water and it becomes raw again. I'm not a fan of those. To me, it's not fresh if it's been sitting in a bag for who knows how long, freeze dried. This is fresh, and it's nice to finally see something that is fresh.
Yeah, and I think that they've hit that mark. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that Clara has turned on the applause sign, so that must mean that we must be leaving here.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a thing. All right. Well, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green. Making sure everybody realizes life is so short.
Sorry. You kind of said play with your pet. Sorry. Life is short.
Play with your pet.
Thank you. And thank you, BRETT PODOLSKY from The Farmer's Dog, for joining us and giving us some time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime. Wait, you forgot about me. And now a moment with Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Hi. We do that.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, well, we just got done with your very, very first basketball game, and I want to know all about it.
Okay, if you want to know all about it, here.
Go on.
When I was out there, we were awesome today.
Yes. What was it like to play in your first basketball game?
Kind of weird.
Kind of weird?
Yeah, because the ball was really heavy, so then we shoot some hoops, and it was kind of hard, because
Keep going.
I almost made a basket. Well, I got 3.
Yeah, you scored 6 points. Your team had a total of 10 points. So you had 6 out of the 10 points, which was kind of cool. Go on.
And then some of those people got 2 points. Then we got to 10. So then we just stayed at 10. And then the other team got 28.
Right. Now, what
Thank
did,
you, Minnesota.
now, what did the coach say in between quarters?
They give you wristbands. So whoever has the matching of your wristband, you have to guard that.
And they're by color, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Black, white, white, red, green.
Was there a blue?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Keep going. That's it?
Yeah.
Any info? Go on. Go ahead.
No.
You have nothing else? What did your coach say to motivate you guys in between quarters?
He said that if we are on the computer, that means we get to play. If we're not, that means we have to stay in. So then, if we have to stay in, we get to watch them.
Yeah.
And then, it was kind of cool watching them.
Yeah, you set out one quarter while at a rotation. Did they talk about passing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell us. I was on the sideline. I'm not coaching.
You have to pass it to your team, and then when the other team has a ball, you have to try to block the goal, the
basket.
shot, and the basket. So then, if the basketball doesn't get into the hoop, so you can try to steal it. So then you can get a shot.
I absolutely enjoy our little moments with Claire. You know that? And I've enjoyed this. I've already enjoyed being able to watch you in basketball. It's been fun. All right. Well, is that all?
Yeah.
We'll say goodbye.
Goodbye. And this was a moment with Claire.